carry over this? Give you confidence that this isn't over?
Yeah. Just playing through the final whistle. Can't really explain it, but we just got to give each other confidence when we go through stretches like that, and just keep fighting, keep believing.
Jalen, just walk me through your mentality in these final kind of plays, the way that you had on Monday, and then in these two plays in the final minute today. For you, mentally, how have you been so mentally strong and tough to be able to come through in those moments, even if you struggled in the first half of both games?
Yeah, it's a focus that I need to have at that moment. You can't really worry about what happened previously in the game. It's all about just focusing, having a clear mind, and just trying to win the game. That's just my mindset, and I wouldn't be that way without my teammates.
For both of you, Tibbs got up here and said people always like to talk about offensive runs, but there can be defensive runs and rebounding runs. And he mentioned Josh grabbing a couple boards there in a row. How important is those things when the shots aren't falling, to just do everything else and do it at a high level? And does that turn into the offense getting to where it needs to be?
Yeah, I think so. When you're not making shots, you got to find ways to impact the game in a positive way. And, that could be an offensive rebound, kick out for another opportunity, a defensive steal to get you out in transition and on the break and get an easy bucket. And those things are momentum plays. And, they really compound and they inspire your teammates. So, that's something that we all try to do. And, we know when it gets close in the end of a game, it's a one-possession game. We're very comfortable because we got Captain Clutch.
How big is for you guys to go back home with a 2-0 lead? And what can you tell me about Carl Towns' performance?
I mean, it's very important. Going home, realizing the opportunity we have, we just got to make sure we're still locked in. Nowhere close to being done. Just keep making sure our mindset is the same. And Cat, just the way he started out the game, it was great for us. And just the way he's been throughout the entire season. And he's been one of the best teammates we have. And the way he gives us energy and the way he goes and gets rebounds and what he does, that's doesn't go unnoticed. And it's just the way he's been.
I thought you were tweeting, so I kept refreshing.
Oh, no, I was trying to order some Uber Eats.
You guys both talked before this season about acquiring Mikal and OG specifically because of the Boston element, because of their wings. How about the way that those two guys have been able to hold Brown and Tatum in the first two games of the series, and how important has that been?
I think it's been huge. We give, obviously, OG a tremendous amount of credit. Played huge for us last game. This game offensively really carried us last game, along with JB. And Kel, man, you can't say enough about his toughness and his grit, his mentality. I think he ended up with 14 points. I think he went into the fourth with no points. And fourth quarter, he made huge plays for us offensively to keep us in the game, and defensively, he has the ability to change the whole course of a game. And you give him credit because even when his shot's not falling, he's making huge plays that impact winning.
Josh, I think they missed 14 straight shot attempts in the fourth quarter. Obviously they kind of unraveled in the first game as well. Can you sense a team unraveling on the court, or a team that's on the ropes, sort of that's kind of ready to take a run on?
Honestly, to be realistic with you, that doesn't come to mind. Our biggest thing is especially when we go on those runs, it's all right, let's get a stop. We get a stop, let's get another stop. Let's get another stop. And like I said, we got guys that can score the ball. And when we're down that much, the only thing we're thinking about is let's get this to a one possession game towards the end of the game. And like I said, I feel like our defensive intensity picked up in the fourth quarter. Now we got to learn from it and Saturday put together, a full game.
Mikal has kind of conquered adversity all season long. He struggled, admittedly, to start the year, and then he puts up 40 on Christmas. The weirdness in Portland hits the game winner. And then obviously, like you said, didn't score until the fourth tonight. As the two that know him the longest, what is it about him that allows him to kind of rise to those moments or not be too shaken up by what's the outside noise or what's going around? Or has it been a process for him learning to do that too?
I think it's been like that. Now, just going back to our days in college, just the way that we practiced and we prepared for games, it was more mental than anything. And so when you get to the real life or the real game situations, you practice it, you've been prepared for it, you've been through moments like that. And so I think when you do that at a young age and you have that in your repertoire and you go into your professional career and you just have that in your back pocket, like you've went through it. And so he has the ability to block out the noise. And like I said, no matter what happens, we're going to be together as a team, and we're going to have each other's back regardless. And doesn't matter what a single person or us collectively are going through.
For either one of you, there were so many questions, people talking about the makeup of last year's team compared to this year's team. What you guys have done here, 5 straight road wins in the playoffs, coming back from 20 down every night, have those been put to bed by you guys?
What's been put to bed? Sorry, though.
Just the people who said that maybe this team wasn't as tough as last year's team, or
I mean, this team's different from last year's team. Nothing wrong with that. We gotta find it. We just gotta find a way with this year.
Asked a couple guys in the locker room, same question, and asked you guys, you think you need to spot them 20 points from opening to be able to play your best basketball, or what do you attribute the ability to come back from behind like that to?
I would prefer not to, but we need to start the game a lot better. Sustain how we play. I think the first quarter of game 1 we played decent. Then we had a drought, but we got to find a way to limit their runs. Now they're going to go on runs. They're a great team. They can shoot the ball, and they can make plays for each other like no other. But we got to just find a way to limit their runs, and so not get in the hole like that.
How would you describe just what this team is capable of? I know you're trying to stay even keeled and move on to the next game, but what you've done these past 2 nights is pretty rare.
I don't think we even know what we're capable of. I think we have to continue to build. I think we have to put together a full game, and I think that's something that we haven't done during the course of this playoffs. We got leads and we surrendered leads, and then we came back from big leads. So we got to figure out a way to put together a complete game, and then that can answer some of those questions. But for us, it's just about continuing to get better. No one else is worried about that? And figuring out a way to put together a full 48-minute game.
Josh and Jalen, you can chime in as well. So many of these NBA playoff games the past couple of weeks have taken more of a March Madness tenor with tip-ins at the buzzer, Tyrese Halliburton doing his thing, Jalen in Detroit. You guys have been part of a national championship. You guys have been part of a team that was a number 1 seed and lost.
He's been
Don't do it. Don't do it.
No. Sorry.
No, I'm saying him.
My
I got one.
He's been part of one.
I got one. That's all that matters.
Part of 2.
I got one.
Are there any parallels between the win or go home with March Madness to what these playoffs have produced?
Nah, I don't think so. I think the craziness is there, and the intensity is there, and I think that's fun for the fans, fun for the league, fun for the players. But it's a totally different game, totally different style. But you always have to approach the game with that kind of intensity, that kind of win or go home, physicality and energy. And when you do that, good things happen. But there's been some crazy games in this playoffs, and it's been fun to watch and to be a part of.
Last
This is for both of you, but Jalen, are you? I know you got to be laser focused on the next game, the next series, but are both of you aware of sort of the positive impact that that your game and your victories, bless you,
Thank you.
are having on a city like New York? That's kind of, people all over the place. But are you aware of just the impact that you guys are having on the city?
I want to say that we're aware. We see obviously what happens after games, home games, what the fans do. But I'm gonna let them do them. We're gonna focus on us.
All right, thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Deficits coming away with 2 victories.
Yeah, and that's the playoffs. You got to keep fighting. Every possession matters, and you got to play all 48 minutes. And so we started slowly, got in a big hole, dug our way out, and then guys made a lot of tough plays. They were at their best when their best was needed down the stretch.
Coach, as far as I know, this is the first time in the NBA playoff history all the road teams won game 1, and the second game you won. There is no more home court advantage in NBA?
It seems like it's changing, so I think just the way the game goes now, you can make up ground, I think, a lot quicker, with the way teams shoot threes. And I know, like, for the writers who are around us, they always think every lead is safe, but it's not. And so everything does matter.
Tom, on that last play, just, I guess, walk us through a little bit. It looked like Mitch and OG basically forced him to the left, and what you saw from there.
Yeah, and I thought there was good team defense on that. There was a swarm, and Tatum is so tough when he gets any speed and he's going downhill. So you need bodies in front of him, and then the pursuit from behind is also important. But I thought in the fourth quarter our defense was outstanding, and that's what we need to do for the entire game. And I was still really concerned about the rebounding. We have to fix that.
Obviously, you don't want to get in the habit of 20-point comebacks. But what does that say about the character of this team?
Well, always have the belief, I think, in each other. I think you get to the playoffs, it's about really your mental toughness, your defense, and your teamwork, and always having the belief that you could do something better and you could find a way to win, right? So it's a long game, keep playing, and that's what they did. And this team has been that way all season long. We dealt with, Mitch being out more than the first half of the season. Then Jalen took the injury in March, and they kept marching forward, and I think that's important for us. Thought Mitch gave us a huge lift off the bench. Cat was, huge, had the big putback. I think Mikal, the way he scored in the fourth was huge for us. It gave us a lot of confidence. And then, Jalen, that's Jalen. It doesn't matter what's going on in the game. He's going to be at his best when his best is needed. And timely plays, but there was a lot of hustle plays in there as well.
As it pertains to Mikal, you always talk about he's one of those guys that puts in the work. And this is the second game in a row he's come up big in the fourth quarter. What have you learned about him? What does it say about his makeup for him to keep shooting and keep going after those first two quarters?
I think one of the things I really respect about him is his demeanor. He just keeps marching forward, and he doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, but he's a great competitor. And so just find ways to help us win. And if your shot's not dropping, play great defense, move without the ball, push the ball up the floor. I thought we got some fast break baskets in the second half. I thought that helped us a lot as well.
Hey, Tom, when you guys are down 20, Miles comes in, and how much of a spark do you think that was?
Yeah, I think he and Mitch, because we were flat, and I think they came in and they provided a spark and got us going. We got some stops, and we got into the open floor. A couple shots went down, right, and then everyone started feeling a lot better. And then once we got it inside 10, we always have the belief that, we can win.
Tom, with Mitch, he's been on a lot of these switches during these first two games, and he seems to have really held his own in most of those situations. When did you feel like he was really somebody who you trusted guarding perimeter players out there?
About 4 years ago.
It was there because early in his career he hung
Well,
around
the first thing, yeah, he's got great feet and anticipation. So I think the challenge was when we first got here was he's really got it's not only his defense, but he's very disciplined. And I think that was probably the piece, like for most young players. Once he got to know the players better, and then learning how to become the second jumper, I think all those things helped eliminate, the reckless fouls. And he's a huge factor. He's a hard guy to score over. So even if you score over him, it's going to be a tough shot. And so I think he's learned that. He doesn't whack down anymore. Those cheap fouls are gone.
Tom, when you think about the clutch, a lot of people consider that offensive, but now this is the second time that Mikhail's come up big, the game on the line on defense.
Yeah.
Is clutch defense a thing?
Yeah, like people always talk about offensive runs. I think you go on defensive runs as well. You also go on rebounding runs. You'll see guys, all of a sudden, they have, like Josh is a prime example. All of a sudden, he has 2 or 3 rebounds, and then he'll get like 4 or 5 in a row. So it's like making shots. And so I think whatever it takes for us to win, like Carl had the big and one, like Mikhail with timely baskets, Jalen with timely baskets, Josh with his hustle, Mitch all over the floor, switching, guarding, great impact. But that's a team working together.
It was no secret that you guys got OG and Mikhail, but not for Boston, but with Boston in mind. And the whole, Tatum and Brown for what they did tonight, they did the first 2 games. Is that kind of what you envisioned?
Well, not necessarily. I think a premium has been put on long wings in the league, and versatility. So guys who can guard 2, 3, 4, and even point guards as well. So we got them because we felt they were good players and they could make us better. And I think the length at that position, at the wing position, is huge because you're asking guys, particularly with 5 out, to get in, protect the paint, but also to get out and cover the line. And then when the ball gets shot, to also rebound. So I think the length is very important. And, and just having the versatility to play 2, 3, and 4, what it also allows you to do is do a lot more switching.
All right, a couple more.
Coach, how critical is Hart's offense, given that they're helping a lot off of him digging, and how critical is it for him to just make shots and make plays and when the time comes?
Yeah, and I think you saw like a variety of, the way he scored, like the transition and the pace are like his strengths. And then he's real clever. He plays a lot bigger than his size. So the rebounding, but also the finishing ability inside. But then he's worked a lot on his shooting. If you leave him open, he's not hesitating, just let it fly. But I think that's huge for us. And particularly if you're going to overcommit, right, we got to trust the pass, trust each other, trust your teammates, and you're going to have an advantage on the backside. Anytime you put 2 on the ball, there's advantages in other areas. And so same thing, Carl gets double-teamed all the time, Jalen gets double-teamed all the time, so just trust each other, make the right play, and usually the second pass against the blitz or the double team in a post is going to get you a high-quality shot.
So you're concerned about everything?
I am.
You give yourself a moment when this game ends?
No, that's the beauty of the playoffs, and it really, you can't get wrapped up in the emotions of it. I think it's important, you look forward to the next game, but to understand, okay, it's a series, but you have to focus on the game that you're playing. What is it going to take to win that game? So we know each game, right? There's going to be more force and more aggression in it, and we have to be ready for that. And so all we have to do is make sure that we're focusing on what it's going to take to win Game 3.
All
Coach, the Celtics took 20 fewer three-point attempts, but shot the same percentage, 25%. I know it was a concern about how many shots the three-pointers the Celtics get up. Like, how impressed were you, and what was that a key to allowing you guys to come back and win, holding to that percentage, even though they took?
Yeah, and again, it's hard to say. Like, I want to look at the film to look at the quality of their shots. They have a style of play. I think they do a terrific job. They're strong on both sides of the ball. So we know we have to play for 48 minutes against them. And if you give them open shots, they're going to make them. If you give them a second crack at it, they're going to make you pay. And it's not just, it's their transition also. And then what they do on the offensive board to get the kickouts and a second and third look at it, they're very quick to the ball. So we have to make sure that we're putting bodies on them. Yep.